Alright, here we are again. Dr. David Gold. I want to show you another little video here to kind of clarify what I had told you on my last video about this sign and how I deduced Frank Morris's name from it. I left a few things out. I actually filmed them and they got deleted. So let's start from the beginning. Here's the sign. You may remember that that could be the pyramids, the eyes of the Sphinx, the feet of the Sphinx, maybe a shaft in the pyramid, and this message that the Zodiac sent us that says connect the dots. You know, he says, this is the Zodiac speaking, by the way, have you cracked the last cipher I sent you? My name is, and then he gives you all of this, which was deciphered to say connect the dots. So I connected the dots, and he had told me on one occasion you have to connect the dots. And he gave me this story about Morse Code. He said that his whole code system and all the letters that he had ever sent to anyone were types of Morse Code. And I told him, well, I thought Morse Code was just dots and dashes. And he goes, well, it is, but this is a different kind of Morse. This guy spells his last name M-O-R-R-I-S. And he was also a genius, just like me. And I go, really? He goes, yeah, he and I have a lot of things in common. He was hinting around and beating around the bush about the fact that his name was Frank Morris and the code he used was Morse's code, Morse code. Okay, more of his interesting psychopathic analogies. So if we connect these dots from here to here, from here to here, that gives us a couple of lines that, if taken from his previous ciphers, this line could equal a K, letter K. A sign like this could be a letter R, and a sign like this would be an F. So there, that's this, that's an F. That's this, that's a K. I'll show you later how we can get an R out of this. So that gives you everything in Frank, there's the F, except for the A. So I went ahead and drew this on up, and I connected these 2 points because, remember, Frank Morris was a draftsman. He discussed with me about, did I understand that a point along a line would be considered a dot, and that connecting them, you know, lines that go into infinity, and some things about pi, he was into that. 3.14 has to do with the circumference of a circle, diameter and radius and all that. And we won't go into that today, but you could tell that he had some knowledge of the mathematics of lines and points. So you can see there I have the letter A. Okay, so here's an F. We have this is an R, so that could be, that R could be in here somewhere. If we drew a perpendicular line from this point to this line, we would have this symbol. But also in Morse code, the letter R is a dot, a dash, and a dot. That's the letter R. So if we look at this as 2 dots with a dash in between, then we have our letter R. Now we have F, R, A, N, this is an N, and K. Now, the name Lee, there's an L. That's an L. The E comes from Morse Code. An E is one single dot. We had plenty of dots right here, so the E's were already there. Morris, here's the M. The O in this little cipher, O would be either an N or an M. So we have an N and an M, so the O is there. The R, which would be this T, this upside down T, perpendicular drawn from here to here, would give you the R, and there's two of them. The I would be two dots in Morse code, it equals an I. And the S would be three dots in Morse code equals an S. And we had four dots here, so you could have 1, 2, 3, 4 dots of any kind, so that puts the S in there. And we have the killer's name, Frank Lee Morris. The Zodiac. Tie that in with the airliner that we found in this skeleton's eye. You will have to look that up on the internet so you can get a good look at it. It's very difficult to get a close look where you can actually see the airliner in there and it's flying that way. But you will, if you look at enough different pictures, you'll find one that's clear enough that you can see that. And so that ties him to Dan Cooper. And don't forget, Alcatraz is in his nose. Remember we drew this? There's the rock that he said he lived on. That is taken from this nose. And for those of you who still think that I'm making this up, think about it for a while. Look at all of my videos, read the descriptions, and you tell me how someone could think all of that up. I'm not that good of a storyteller. I'm telling you something that happened to me when I was a teenager and a few years beyond that, because I knew this killer. He tried to kill me several different times. He lived there with the Anglin brothers who helped him. They were his accomplices, and I believe one of those three is still alive and is the person who killed the person who packed the parachute for Frank Morris when he made this infamous Dan Cooper jump. So be careful. You could be next.